There's 0 people here, so I have a hard time believing I'm live. Oh, there's 14 now. Crap. I'm really put on the spot. All right, so here I sit with my own camera pointed right at me to show I'm not paranoid, you know, of cameras viewing me. I'm live tonight, and you know, I don't know. I mean, there is nothing new. You know, there is nothing new. But despite that, people want to see me, and they want to make sure I'm live. So I'm here, you know, all live. Freedom Flag, Watcher, Maud, Diane, Bogey, Mike Russell, Teresa, Watcher. Thanks for being here, everybody, man. Katie's here. Got a lot of people here. Happy with that. And I'm sorry if anybody was looking for new information. But the newest that we have, of course, comes out of Lafayette over here. And right off the bat, I mean, I was here, you know, I wasted no time in going live and telling everybody, don't jump the gun with this. He looks like the sketch thing so quick. Don't be that person, because that person doesn't know some vital information that I give to you, that I hand out. I just, here, yeah. You know, I want you to have this information. That's how Michael J. Katt plays it. I go by Michael J. Katt because YouTube stole my real name, and I'm upset about that. And there might be legal actions. We'll just have to wait and see. Doing pretty good. Wait, oh, hold on. Man, they're flying up here now. Free Society. Hi from Scotland. Thanks for being here. Johnny Sullivan, Lynn, Lil Pookie. New names. Davy Crockett's here. Sharon Parker. Daniel Lawrence. Thank you, and thank you for sharing, man. So, anyways, it is like I had said. Ann C, didn't want to miss you. It is like I said, that it was a no-go, because the simple matter is that guy had prior felonies. He had a felony record in his past. Now, I am, give me a quick second while I find it, but I'm going to go play that video for you guys right about now. Well, not right now. You know, hold on a quick second while I find that video. Is it in here? No, it ain't there. It's in here, right? Man, yeah, it's gotta be. Jeez, man, you know, the things that you could set up ahead of time. Huh. And where do I keep that? See, now this is where I'm wasting people's time, right here. That's it, right here. Okay, I'm going to play that little piece of evidence for you right now. Let's see. Yeah, no, I want like that. They, you know, they make everything more complicated than what it is. I just want to share my screen. You know, why can't it be that easy? All right. Well, let me pull this here up for you. This is the evidence right here.
One of those situations where we got a case that you know, this person's never apparently committed a crime before. We had, you know,
You would feel that he had never committed a crime. He has no DNA in that case.
well, I can't comment on that, but I'm just saying that's what it looks like. I mean, it's a possibility he's done something, but we can't find no traces of it.
That was my first thought. I thought anybody at that. There it is, right there. It's like this man has never been caught committing a crime before. Maybe he's done something, but we can find no traces of him. Now, would he have stated that if the guy had a felony record, man, one county over? No, because in knowing that, you see, you would know that the FBI would have had him immediately. They were set up in Delphi, man, with satellite back to Quantico for over a month. If the guy had a felony record and they had fingerprints, DNA, two people that seen him, he would have been arrested right away if he was from around here. I point that out. And I give you this because that wasn't given to the news. That wasn't put out for everybody to see on the media. That was given to me and Greeno over there. It was our little fact. And we worked off of that. Because when we found that out, man, we're looking at each other and it's like, well, it's clear we probably don't know who this guy is because we only know people we've been in jail with locally, so it kind of marked that out. But again, it's like if the guy had never been caught committing a crime before, well, who in the world could it be? That's exactly where we was and remained for quite some time. Now, I don't think, no, after that, no, because after that, there wasn't really a person of interest until TB came out. Now, I say that because there was other people, but in knowing that information, I could go right back on my case, Indiana, look up their criminal record. And if they had prior record like that, where they had been fingerprinted, I knew immediately at that time that they were not the suspect. That is one of the first things I check is my case. Because if they have a criminal record and they've been fingerprinted, it's not that suspect. Period. Don't care. Because, people go, but he looks like the sketch. No, maybe he's got some facial hair that resembles that. So is half the men are locally in the Midwest. I mean, look at me. If mine was shorter, I'd look like that. I don't. Anywho. Well, that's very easy. Why is everyone but TB with a prior record? Because most people, and this is true, you can look this up. Most guys that are 18 to 40 usually have a criminal record. I'm going to say more than 50% of men who are 40 years old at least have been arrested one time in their life for something at some time or another. But if you find somebody that does not have a prior record, that's what we're looking for. Now, not only does he not have a prior record, just like St. Louis said, he looks like the sketch. He was dressed just like Bridge Guy when committing the Catholic supply store sexual assault and homicide. I think it went on from there. Yeah, well, that's for a reason, Teresa. He was the one that filmed that piece of evidence I just had. He's the one that was holding the camera, was Greeno. And that's why. Because me and Greeno know that this guy has no criminal record, no past criminal record. Now, I can say that, okay, because now TB does have a criminal record. And that's what hit him, was, him going in, being fingerprinted. I believe they came back as the Delphi unknown fingerprints. And that's what tagged him in St. Louis, connecting him to Delphi. That's why they called immediately. Wasn't a good patrolman down there that just said, hey, he looks like this sketch I've been seeing. It wasn't like that. He was tied back to it. Now, they're not going to tell you that. They came out 5 months after he was arrested and had the Delphi briefing, basically giving us crap, things that I know that they knew at that time. Now, they had to play that, and I give them, what they had to do. Okay, after the fact and seeing it, okay, fair enough. You have to do that. That keeps all the questions away. And how did he end that? Don't bother the family with questions for at least the next 2 weeks. They wanted over that, so that people didn't come right in. But here's the thing. What could you really ask about the evidence that was given? Like, we know where the audio came from, guys. We knew that. The new sketch, well, where are they going to say? Because, the media knows that they can't release the people who did it and their names. So is there anything you could ask there? The video was pixelated. I mean, if they was going to ask anything, I would hope it was, did you guys purposely pixelate that video? Did you? That would have been my first question there. But they didn't give us anything. They didn't give us anything new. They gave us a younger looking sketch to hold up the narrative that he's 18 to 40. When 5 months before that, I was already in the know that he was not 18 to 40. He was 52 at that time. Oh, thank you very much, JJ. I don't know if they're going to be doing that. In fact, I mean, I only got the handful of names that I believe to be that one dude, but you know, I ain't out after apologies. But I do like it to be stated that, hey, you know what? He was right and he stood his ground for like 3 years. I wouldn't mind that. Well, you know what? That is a good question, and one that I really looked at over the last few years, because you would think, however, now this is my thought on it, be it true or not. I mean, I was military police, but honestly, I cannot answer this question. If he was in the military and he committed no crime, okay, no crime, because I was in the military, I don't remember them fingerprinting me, you know. But if you do not commit a crime, then would that fingerprint from the military become publicly in the civilian department available? And I kind of doubt that it would, because if they did fingerprint him in the military and it was not available, and it was available, he would have been hit. That's kind of my answer. You know, if you know better, or if you know somebody that knows better, find out, but make sure it's accurate, and I would like to look at that. Oh, really? Really? Where'd you go to basic at? I mean, I was down at Fort McClellan, but my uncle was military policeman. Man, I think he went, where in the world was that? Man, I'm forgetting. It wasn't Fort McClellan, though. Hey, what up, Dave? The greatest drummer ever is here, David Welsh. You know, big applause. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. If they asked the military for it, I'm sure they would release it to the police. Well, would they not have to know the guy's name? And how would they acquire his name? I mean, this is what I'm throwing out, you know. They can't go there and say, we need this guy's fingerprints. Because if they knew it was that guy, I mean, I'm sure they'd have a lot more to go on than just fingerprints. Man, they could catch up with the guy, wait for him to touch something, go in, man, dust it up, take the fingerprint, do it like that. Hey, Jason, Bruce Davis, how you guys doing, man? Wombat, Miss Ladybug, getting people rolling in. Do I have 68 thumbs up? Survey says I do not. Please take a second that I have on my invisible watch and hit that thumbs up. You'd be doing me a great favor. And Puppy, too. Good question. I can tell you where he lived. At the time, because he moved to Imperial, which is in Jefferson County, which is on the western side of St. Louis. But he moved there after Delphi had, you know, been done. So at that time, he was living in St. Louis County. Now, I think that was on Lacklink Road, because I don't think that he had moved from there at that time. So I think that's probably where he was living, was in St. Louis. That's where I draw the route from St. Louis to Fort Wayne. Yeah, that ain't the way that's done. You just notify me when there's somebody here like that. My finger's always ready. Bam. Every time. No, wait, what? Hi, Michael Katt. Hope you are doing well. Yes, I have been through Elkhart. Never went there and hung out any, but I lived a couple counties south of there. I mean, I grew up in Fulton County, just south of Rochester. Peace, Jason. So, anyways, where was I before I went elsewhere? Evidence. Now, one more time, because all of this, I believe, goes to the sheriff, Tobe Lesby. Because when they contacted Carroll County, now they could have been talking to an investigator. I'm not saying that they weren't, but I mean, I'm going to say Tobe was involved somehow, being the sheriff. But when they called and they had said that, or man, we got a guy that, has committed first-degree murder and 17 other felony counts in one go, that looks like your sketch, had committed no prior offenses, was dressed like bridge guy. Now, when they say this, and of course, they're going to send I say mugshots, but I think it goes a little deeper than that. Because when you want somebody to fit a crime, you're going to get their front, their sides, from the back, at all angles. Because if you take those pictures to someone, you don't just show them that person. You show them a mix of people that kind of look similar to them, and then you say, well, can you look through these and find the guy that you saw there that day, if he's in here, and then they would pick the guy out. Now, I believe that was done because they certainly sent photos of the guy right here. And I think that came back as a positive. I mean, they did know, and they knew probably right after the 19th of November that it was him. Now, I remind everybody, because this is gone. I mean, there's really no way to go fact check this now. Now, I have a news listing that I got from that where the lady was talking about it. But down in St. Louis, yes, Davey. Yeah, let me get right back to that. So when they had all this, and the FBI went down to St. Louis, like immediately after his arrest, and they got his DNA to run through CODIS. Does people remember that? I mean, people in St. Louis must, because it was like all over the news. And I was watching the news down there. And the last thing I remember about that was the lady said, the FBI has taken his DNA to run through CODIS, because it looks like that this was the first time this man has committed a crime like this. Nothing's come back yet, but they're still looking. Now, that told me right there, because one, it was too early for it to come back. They had just taken it. And if when you get somebody's DNA, that you got to like put that into a genome pattern and all this and that to then compare out to others, it usually takes like 2 weeks on a hot track. That's the fastest they can do it. Well, it was certainly less than 2 weeks when she had stated that. So I knew nothing was going to come back. And on top of that, because I already knew Daniel Nations had been arrested in Colorado. Now, he was in there on 4 very minor felonies, 4 little felonies in 3 different counties. And he went through all 3 of those counties and got all 4 of those felonies wrapped up in, like, what was it? October, November, December, January, in 5 months. 5 months. Now, right after he was arrested, and on comes the media, a sexual offender from Indiana on the run, arrested at a trail out in Colorado. Is he the guy? Well, at that time, I mean, everybody's looking at him as being the suspect. Now, me and Greeno were in written and verbal communication with Daniel Nations. We was on the phone with the guy. We was getting letters from the guy. If you remember that on my old channel, which is now gone, we was kind of in a contact with him. Now, after they had went out there, because we was waiting for them to come back and give a word on what they found out by speaking to him, the Indiana investigators. Well, they came back and they're like, well, we can neither include him nor exclude him as a suspect at this time. Like, yeah, we knew that when you left. We knew that much when you left. So when I got to talk to Daniel Nations next time, I asked him, I says, well, what did they ask you? And he says, well, nothing. He goes, my public defender without consulting me forcefully, turned him away at the door because he represented Daniel Nations. And he wasn't going to have another state come in pointing fingers at a different crime till he was no longer representing him. Now, because they don't want anything overturned. So law enforcement, or I mean, what do you call it? Like a legal, that's what they got to do. So I knew when he was arrested down there that they hadn't went and talked to him, that they wasn't going to be able to talk to him until he got a conviction. Now, I knew that right away because Daniel Nations had just happened. So I knew that they wasn't going to do that. I knew the briefing wasn't going to be a suspect announcement because I knew that they couldn't do that. If they filed charges against him, they would just file a speedy trial. They'd say, well, there's no way we can get you here that quick. Yeah, exactly. We went. That's how it would have happened. So you got to understand, we do need some patience here. We need a little bit of patience. Now, again, I go back like 2.5 years ago. I stated at that time that nobody was going to come forward as a suspect, that they would not pull out a suspect, nor find this big person of interest and arrest this guy for the Delphi crimes until TB had went to court and got a conviction. After that, they can go talk to him. Until then, it's off. They can't. So until November of this year, law enforcement can't go down and talk to him. It's off the table. He's not going to be shown to be that suspect until they go down and talk to him. And it is my belief all of the charges will be filed in one shot. And that should be done on or around the date of the Delphi murders, like right around February 13th. That would be the prime time for that to come out. Do I think it's going to come out? I know it's going to come out. I don't know if that's going to be the day, but it's a very good guess. Stitchy, man, how you doing? Yeah, and they will, Jeremy. I mean, once he's got the charges filed, they'll transport him to elsewhere where they're going to try him that. Now, I don't know where that's going to be. I mean, I believe it's probably going to be California for one, and probably Missouri too. I think that there will be others in those two states. But on the outside of that, you're looking at Iowa, Indiana, and Michigan, with a possibility of Tennessee, depending. But yeah, they will transport him when it comes down to it. No, no, I don't think that they will even make a mention of Chadwell. That would take the media really riding them, like, well, is it Chadwell? Is it Chadwell? Is it Chadwell? Well, we don't think it's Chadwell, or we don't feel at this time it's Chadwell, is how they put it. They don't really say cleared. And I bring up the first year press conference when we went over there. They didn't say that Daniel Nations was cleared. They said, we went down and we had a long talk with Daniel Nations, and we are not worried right now about Daniel Nations. That says covered. Now, just like me, I'm not cleared, but I'm covered. Greeno's not cleared, but he's covered. So there's a lot on that, but I don't think that they're going to say he's cleared. Tobe said what? Well, our investigators, they'll look into him and, see, that kind of thing. And it was left at that because that is exactly how law enforcement does. They're not direct. They're not to a great point. They beat around the bush and they act like everything's secretive because a lot of times it is. Oh, crap. Man, I can't go back. Man. Well, they don't take your blood and stick that blood in a computer and it comes up with a match. That because that's saying the computer's got to break that down to the genetic genome, all the parts in the DNA string. they got to go in and map that DNA string. And all of that string's got to be placed onto a piece of software that goes out and looks for an exact match. That's the genome. You know, that's why if you take somebody's DNA on a fast track, it's going to take 2 weeks. That's if that guy is heavily suspected. They got the money to send it through that fast. Because if they don't use that, then it's going to take a bit longer. You know, if they already got that person's DNA already in that, like they had John D. Miller's, okay, well, they already had his genome set, packed, you know, looking for a match. That's why when they got that and they set that up and they took this genome out, boom, it matched right too. Still took every bit of 2 weeks plus. Now, when we go back, because that was in the first interview I did with Tobe Lesenby, I asked him about DNA. And he's like, well, you know, we have what we think's DNA, but we don't know if it's suspect DNA. We're at the mercy of the labs. Now, then he went on, because I was asking about the FBI. Well, in what way is the FBI helping you? Well, they're lending us a hand with investigation, forensics, CSI. And I'm like, forensics? Yeah. So, well, if they're doing forensics and you have what you feel could be suspect DNA, and it's been over a month, wouldn't they know? Oh, well, yeah, I see where you're at. I see what you're saying. Blah, 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 blah. And then change the subject, you see, because sometimes, I mean, you know, some things are true in fact, and other times, well, they're telling you something that you know is probably not totally true. And I'm not saying that it wasn't in part true, but it wasn't totally true. Whoever had threw that question up before, if I didn't, was it Davey? Man, was that you? Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, man. I'll take it as a smiley. Hey, Leanne, how you doing? Let's see. That's my thoughts. Yeah, that's what I've come up with. Glad Tobe here. I got it. Thank you. No problem, Colette. I mean, it's Tuesday, and you know, that's when people want to see my face at this time. You know, it's my face. You know. All right. So, all right, 79 people here. Thumbs up, man. They got to happen, man. I gotta, you know, gotta have the thumbs up thing going on. All right, let me. Gotta have the. Yep. Quick second, if I may. Yes. I'm not sure who was, you know, watching the other night when Greeno had his live show, and I think that was about the walk they had out the bridge. But I caught a piece of that, and he was talking about the accent of a person, that it can change. I didn't catch a lot more after that, but and I'm hoping that, you know, he had brought that up for the same reason I do. Because off the go, for like literally the first 2 years, you know, we had the audio and the video, the pictures. And we was listening to that, and we was trying to make out from where it was from. And I think, I mean, both of us had kind of agreed. It sounded Southern, but not Southern, like not Tennessee, not down, you know, further in Tennessee, not even Southern Kentucky, but it sounded more like just south of Indiana to Kentucky, you know, right down into that kind of an area. Now, I thought that it was kind of odd because, one, the guy's straight west of there in St. Louis, for one thing, but two, he grew up in Michigan. Now, Michigan, lower Michigan, especially right up over the border into Michigan, doesn't really have much of a difference between Indiana. You know, now if you go up like northern Michigan, that's where they all start talking like they're Canadian. We had a place up on the Upper Peninsula, and we used to go up there every summer early. Like, you know, after I got out of school, May 20th, we went up there mushroom hunting. Now, we had a few friends up there, and that's how they talked, you know, Canadian. You know, oh, hey, good to see you. Hey, no, come on in. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey. You know, it very good accent, man. I love Canadian accent. You know, I think it's like Fargo in a way. I love Fargo. I don't know, the way they talk, it makes me want to talk that way. But anyway, he grew up there in Montrose, Michigan. Now, he was in the Navy and had lived on the West Coast at Escondido, California, in San Diego County for 11 years, and then went back to Flint. It's nice, for about 6 or 7 years before moving down to St. Louis. Now, I wonder, in the mix of that, you know, from Michigan to California, back to Michigan and St. Louis, you know, it makes me wonder because I firmly believe that that's his voice. I know it is. You know, I mean, like, you can't tell me it ain't his voice. But it was taken from 2 different recordings. You know, one was a dash cam that was taken at a distance, and the officer was between him and the mic most of the time. Now, in the first one in Delphi, it was taken from a cell phone that was probably placed in an upper or lower pocket that was, you know, away from him. So we don't really have great recordings of both, and both are said at 2 different times. One where he's telling somebody what to do, and then another where he's very disturbed and angry, probably a little paranoid, while drunk, you know, kind of arguing with an officer. But the voice sounds very much the same. Very, very much. And I've had people listen to that and go, nope, doesn't sound anything like him. I'm like, yeah, it does. It sounds a whole lot like him. So much so, I know it's him. Georgina. Thomas, is that Terry or Teray? Sharon Parker? Garger? Yeah. 1 second. Let me go find it. That ain't it. Crap, man. Yeah, here it is.
Murder suspect Thomas Bruce 1 month.
All right, let me play this for you here. What in the world? Okay. Here we go.
Before his alleged Catholic supply store rampage.
It is exclusive video that Foxconn's investigator Chris Hayes obtained after his exclusive interview with the road rage victim, Chris.
Maybe Vic, Tom Bruce is charged with sexual attacks and murder inside a suburban Catholic store November 19th. 1 month earlier, he was captured having an angry interaction with a Missouri State Highway Patrol trooper. Bruce was driving a 2017 Kia. The victim says Bruce pulled in front of him and slammed on his brakes. Missouri State Highway Patrol then captured dash cam footage with the man who would soon become a murder suspect.
I am a citizen. You work for me. Okay, all right? Do you understand that? I don't work for you. Or yes, you do. I pay your taxes, and you do not work for me. Step back. Where do you step back? All right, you ain't sitting right there. Where do you want to stand? Right there.
That's just the beginning of the tense and surprising moments in this confrontation. Tonight, only on Fox 2.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. But I mean, let me go play the Down the Hill. Wait, if I got it on here. Yeah, right here. Oh, okay, right now. All right. And yeah, I it's the same voice, if you ask me. Yeah, exactly. That is what that means. Yeah, it is. I mean, they kind of blend, but I mean, you know, you would probably agree. I mean, you go up in the UP, people up there really talk Canadian, man, deeply. Like they could just cross the border and they wouldn't be lost, you know. He was hammered. Now, I mean, when I say he was hammered, yeah, he was hammered. And I think that that's how every crime that he has committed like this, every murder that he has committed has found him drunk firstly, at least to that point where he feels comfortable and go doing. Yeah, well, you know, it does sound raspy, but I'm going to say that that's the background sound that, you know, over the top of that. And, you know, he may be a smoker, but I have never seen a picture of him with the cigarette. I never have. And I'm not saying that he's not a smoker. And I would speculate that he's left-handed, but I don't know that he's left-handed. Yes. Yes, that cop did. That cop said, have a good night, Mr. Bruce. Peace, buddy. You're just a little drunk, making a point on the highway. We don't mind. We don't mind. Well, here's the thing, Miss Ladybug. And this is what I tell people. If you don't know who that voice belongs to, it wouldn't matter, would it? Would it really matter? I mean, they don't have to release more. If you don't know who it belongs to, there it is. It's just like the picture. People say, well, we need a better picture. Well, it ain't going to be your aunt, man. You know, it ain't going to be somebody that you know. You know, it's just like when me and Greeno was looking at that picture off the bat. You know, he's staring at it, man, staring at it day after day, just staring at it. And I'm like, why are you staring at it? I want to know who it is. If you don't know who that is, staring at it is not going to give you a name. It won't. Yeah, exactly, Stitchy. Yeah, that is kind of my belief on that. And Lisa, you may be right, because they did say something to that effect, that because in any part of it, he's talking to two minor girls. You got to remember that. And they're not going to release anything that the girls had said, and they're not going to release anything that's in a graphic nature. So, and again, man, we got his voice. And I'm going to ask you, in all murder cases that you've looked at, how many do you have where you have the guy's picture, the guy's video, the guy's audio? You got a sketch of the guy. We know quite a bit about this guy. And anybody who's looked into this case, and looked into this case, not watched everybody's videos, but if you looked into this case and all the press conferences, you would know a lot of these details are true, are very true. And that is what stands out most about TB. And now, when I started looking into TB, I looked into him because I had read, right there, where St. Louis had contacted Carroll County. And I thought, whoa, okay, this really stood out to me, because this did address the issues that I knew had to be there. One, that the guy would look like the sketch. Two, was dressed like Bridge Guy. That seemed a little over the top, but hey, it might be his method there, of dress, for what I know. And two, the guy had never been caught committing a crime in his past. I knew that played in. So I went and looked him up. When I seen the sketch, you can read my lips. And that's exactly what I said. I said that to Wolf back then. It wasn't Puppy. But that's what began me looking into his past, man. The bankruptcy. The fact that he was fired from 2 long-term jobs, 1 month before Evansdale, 1 month before Delphi. Look at the similarities I did on Evansdale and Delphi 2 videos ago. The Evansdale murders, the Delphi, Indiana, the similarities between both crimes. And you'll see where I'm at. You'll see exactly where I'm at. It is him. It always has been him. And it always will be him. And one day, it'll be him that's on trial for it. Mark my words. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm on your side, Trixie. Sorry, man. I'm sorry, dude. I don't try to. If I had a telephone number, I would have reached and said, dude, man, be ready, man. I'm going on at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, exactly. And that was my thing off the go. It was never my desire to I'm not even saying I solved it. I knew it was solved before I got my hands on it, by law enforcement. But I wasn't out there trying to figure out who the guy was, because it was like I told Greeno, if you don't know who the guy is, staring at 1,000 years ain't gonna give you a name. But we was following law enforcement, like where they had the raid on RL's house, and then he went to court. We were there, man. We went there. We wanted to get that for everybody. Now, never one time, not even for a fraction of, well, there was that when we looked at RL's mugshot and we're like, well, he don't look like that nice guy right there. But let me tell you something. Mugshots always make you look guilty. They're supposed to. I mean, that's the purpose of a mugshot, is to make you look guilty. But, we was never on that side. And we was kind of arguing with people online, going, no, it is to him. It's him. Burn him. Like, man, it ain't him. Come on, man. People, though. Oh, I do? Crap. Man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Michael. You know, I got a lot of numbers, man. I got a whole lot of numbers. I got numbers I don't even know who they belong to numbers. I got a lot of them. Not even sure if I would have put you down as Michael or Mitch or probably Michael, I'm sure. 78 likes. Hey, 98 people. It only takes a second to hit that like button. I'd show you how, but it'd take too long. But hit that like for me. Appreciate the crap out of it. I would. Okay, it takes 2 seconds to hit the like button. Thank you, Trixie. It is November 1st this year. That means that he goes in. They already got the jury selection date lined up. Everything is set from August 2nd to November 1st. Now, I point this out for a reason. Because at August 1st, everybody could go down and talk to him right after that. I mean, September, October, you know, and I think really that they wanted that on that day. I mean, because when I look at November 1st, and then it completes, it said a 6-day trial, which makes me feel if they're running a jury trial in 6 days, and I want you to think about like O.J. Simpson's jury trial. How long did that last? Like a year or something? I mean, it was forever long, man, forever long. Now, this guy's in there for first-degree murder and 17 other felony convictions. This makes me feel that just like BTK, that he's going to go in, confess, and go ahead and get handed what the jury gives him, be that life behind bars, or if they just give him life with the possibility of parole. Tomato, tomato, but he's going to go confess. Now, that's going to open the door straight up, man, so that the other states can go down and talk to him. He's duly aware of this, and he knows, because I think that it may have already been brought to his attention that this is the way they'd like to do that. Now, after he pleads guilty and goes through that, then they'll go down and talk to him. Then you have December, January, half of February, and that'll be the announcement date after they speak to him. Now, I say that. Do I know that? I do not know that. I do not know about that date, but I do know that that's how it's going to happen. I know they're going to go talk to him right after that. That is set in stone. In fact, I will go as far as to say this. Maybe some of you remember when I called Sheriff Chris Swanson of Genesee County, Michigan, and talked to him. Maybe, you know. Well, when I brought that up, and I mean, I didn't release that part to it, you know, because that was a private call, but I think that he knew that I was recording that for, you know, use anyway. But when I told him why I was calling for a tip on the Mary Pryor and Ann Pates case, you know, he went on, he says, after I told him that, he says, you know what? I'm going to take your tip and I will go down and talk to him. Think about that. I know Chris Swanson's going to go down and talk to him. I know that that's going to happen. That's Michigan right there. And that's 2 murders right there. Now, Indiana, we know that he was pointed at as a person of interest by the St. Louis cops and the media. They'll go down and talk to him. I called Iowa and gave them the information that I had, man. They're in Evansdale, and I know that they will go talk to him. So I'm certain that those 3 states are going to go talk to him. Now, I say that because that's the way that, I mean, I see that happening because that's the way it looks to me. But on the flip side, wait, because I think that they was all already, man, they was all contacted by the FBI. Both murders in Michigan and Genesee County, his home county, right there where Montrose is. Okay, in both of those crimes, they have DNA and fingerprints. Now think about that. 2 light crimes, okay? One on an 83-year-old lady, the other on a 24-year-old lady. Very similar in nature of the way that they happened, okay? In both of them, they have DNA and fingerprints. Now, what does that tell you about both of those crimes? They were both done by what? A person who had never got caught committing a crime before. Now, when I called the tip line on the Ann Pates murder, and I gave TB's name, the lady said, I think we already had that name tipped in. I'm like, you do? She's like, yeah, well, hang on a second. And probably wasn't even 30 seconds. And she's like, yeah, somebody's already tipped that name in. Now, that right there told me one thing. A person that he was up there at that bar in Montrose drinking with that night, because her car broke down at 2 o'clock in the morning. She was found at 7 o'clock the following morning in a ditch on a country road 12 miles from there with her neck slit open. Okay. Now, when this was found out, because you're looking at a small town of like 700-800 people. Okay. And when this happened right there, 2 miles to the east on that highway, I'm sure people said, hey, when you left last night, man, was that car out there? Did you see that lady? Because she was murdered, you know? And I'm positive that after he was hit for the Catholic supply store, one of his friends that was there that night that knew when he left and had seen what he did said, you know what? I think he was lying. And I think he's the one that did that and called it up. Nobody just out there like around Indiana or anything like that called that in. You see, that was somebody that knew him, somebody that was there. That's my belief. Would do what? What if TB committed the double murder in Zion? Also, he committed 3 of the 16. Oh, I see where you're at. I can only name 2 of them. I mean, unless there's one I'm overlooking. But what is murder in Zion? Double murder in Zion. You know what? I will look that one up. Because I want to see that, because if that is one similar, yeah, I definitely want to look at that. In fact, if you would email me some information on that, right? Let me see here. I'd be very happy. And I send you my sincere thanks. Please hit the like button, everybody. The more likes, the more views. The larger following, the more demand grows for content. Result, we'll get to enjoy lots more Michael shows. Maybe. Really? Okay. Well, send me, yes, exactly. Thank you, watcher. So you put it up like that. That's right there in chat. Copy and paste, send. Well, I need to know Zion where. And because if I know where it's at and I can look that up, because you know what? If it's 2 young girls and it was taken by Zion, I could look into that and probably give you at least my thoughts. And I would be more than happy to look that up, man. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm fixing to leave now so I can go look it up. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Northeast. Okay. Yeah. I'll definitely go and check that out, man, because that is the stomping grounds. If you see where I'm at, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, into Missouri. Those are places where he traveled through. He was traveling all the time. If you look at his travel itinerary, man, it's deep and wide. Guy was all the time driving. Well, I might be one of those people. And we'll have to see. Oh, thank you, Michael. $112, Michael. Yep, and I told you exactly what that. No, that is not what she said. She said that they was home or they had a dinner date that night. Now, she did not say 6 p.m. She did not say that was at 6 p.m. She said they had a dinner date on the night of the 13th. Now, this is 2 years later, and I'm thinking, geez, how does she remember a dinner date that they had 2 years prior on the night before Valentine's Day? I mean, they had been married forever, but On the flip side, because like I said, I know already at this time when she had stated that she had already been talked to by the FBI. So was their neighbor. So was friends. So was family. Everybody was talked to about Delphi. Now, the FBI would only investigate Delphi if they believed he had something to do with Delphi. Now, they got his DNA and they knew the other cases at that time if he was that same guy. I'll put it to you like this. The Delphi DNA matched the same killer in Michigan, but they didn't know who that killer was. You see where I'm at? And both killings up there matched right back to Delphi. Well, they can't come forward and say, well, we also think he did these crimes, because even law enforcement in Genesee County didn't come out and say, we have 2 crimes and they are both connected to the same guy by DNA and fingerprints. Because by doing that, you'd basically be saying to a small county, we got a rampaging murderer on our hands, you know, and that would freak everybody out. So they didn't go forward with that they were connected. And neither would Delphi with that. But the FBI, in knowing that, once he was arrested down here, would have got a hold of Genesee County, would have got a hold of the Sheriff Swanson and told him, we have a guy that fits your DNA and fingerprints that we believe is the culprit in your crimes. So get your case ready, because once he's convicted, you can get those cases together. Now, that's how I feel that happened. You know, we'll see, though. In 2005, man, okay. You know what? That is right around the time in 2005 when he was moving. Well, he had already moved from Genesee County, Michigan, down to, I know, Jackson County, but I think by 2005, he may have already had moved to St. Louis before moving to Imperial. And that was only like 1 year before he was arrested. So that was like late 2017, somewhere in there. So I go back to his residence prior to that, which was on Lacklink Road in St. Louis. Oh, thank you, Diane. Oh, man, really? Really? Yeah. You know what? Man, I appreciate you guys giving me this news. I will check into that. Michael, I don't know. Now, I say that for this reason. Law enforcement said that there was a vehicle that was parked there between about 12 p.m. up to 5 p.m. Now, they never said this was the suspect's vehicle, but they brought that up at the briefing for a reason, that they felt that it was the suspect's vehicle. Now, they never gave a make or model of that vehicle. However, now that was the kind of vehicle that people said was at the exit where the girls came up missing at the trail in Evansdale. You know, I think 3 people had seen that, but none of them really got what kind of vehicle it was. I mean, they basically all stood on the same thing, man, that it was a white, clunky, older style SUV. Now, this is in 2012. So if you think older, you would think into the 90s, probably like a Jeep Cherokee. They said Bronco-like, something like that, you know. So they didn't know the make or model of that. But being that it was that old, okay, and I don't think that he carried that like 5 years later and still had that. You know, I doubt that. I think he was probably using a newer vehicle that they had. So just my thoughts. Now, I don't know whether somebody came forward and said, yes, I remember there being a vehicle there, because then you'd have to say, well, what kind of vehicle? Can you describe the vehicle? Well, if you got a bunch of people saying, yeah, I saw a vehicle there. Well, do you know what kind? You know, I just remember it being a vehicle. You know, I'll put it to you like this. If you're driving down a country road and there's a car parked where cars normally park at, well, you cross that, you know, go down that road multiple times, you know, in a week, you know, in a year, you know, all the time. And you're forever seeing a car parked there. Well, if you're driving by one day and a car is parked there, how much attention are you going to give that? None. You know, it's just a car parked there where cars always park. You probably wouldn't even look at it and think there's a car parked there. You know, it's just that familiar that there's a car parked there. So it's kind of my thought because, I mean, I acknowledge this fact, man. They got satellites and they can watch everything. You know, and I know what they got because it was, we had looked that up, and they got a satellite that goes around and it takes a picture every 2 hours. So if it was there at 12 o'clock and 2 o'clock and was like 11, it was there at 1, would have went to 3 and was not there at 5. That's why they said up to 5. You know, because they didn't know the exact time that it had left. And I do believe that that could have been from satellite by the FBI. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know that to be true, but it seems pretty logical. Because, you know, again, if I'm driving into town and back and there's a parking lot, you know, and I pass it like 3 times, I'm not going to remember one car that was parked in that parking lot. You know, nobody's going to, and I'm like, oh yeah, it was a blah, blah, blah kind of car. I thought it looks, you know, nobody's going to do that because it's familiar that cars are parked there. You just tend to overlook them. So I think that it could have came from satellite. No. To what? Well, what could it reverse to? You know, it can't reverse to Evansdale or Delphi. You know? Explain yourself, Bogey. You know, I need a little bit more than reversible. Let me find that. Okay. No. And do you know why I say that? I'll tell you why. Because if you're using satellite imagery, you're going to show the day that you want. Now, if anybody ever came forward and said, no, it showed the day before, well, that's BS if they even say they know that, because unless they're the people looking at it, it was never given. And that is exactly how tabloidism destroys things, because people say crap that they, you know, they want it to sound right. Well, where did you get this information? Well, law enforcement had said it. You know, they'll say some garbage, man. They always do. But believe me, let me see. Yeah, it's a drone guy. But I mean, no, you say the satellite would show that day. And especially if you're doing it through the government, like the FBI is looking at that, they would have it for that day. It wasn't a cloudy day. You would have been able to see the ground. I will look it up. I will find that, Teresa. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, well, yeah, maybe. But I mean, when they came out with that concerning the car at the briefing, they had knew who it was, man, for at least 5 months. I mean, I knew for 5 months at that time. So I knew that they knew before I knew. But I think that that's what really helped him out, because a lot of this information, just like the vehicle being there, it wasn't given until the briefing and they knew who it was. But you see, I think that they already had that information, but they didn't know to whom it belonged to, because it's a top picture via satellite. So it didn't really help them narrow it down until the guy was caught. When the guy was arrested and they knew who it was and had went and got his DNA and his fingerprints had already came back, That's when they could tie that vehicle to him. No. I understand. I wasn't. Believe me, it always sounds like I'm trying to, but I'm not. I ain't trying to argue. I'm just saying but that is the truth. If they was looking at that day, it would have been that day. You know, it wouldn't have come back the day before, because I mean, like, who are you going to blame? The government? You know, you're the government. You know, of course they got that day, provided they got it from satellite. But I believe they did. Now, will that ever come out? No, it won't ever come out. But, you know, that is my thoughts on it. Really? Well, TV's in custody, and they're not saying who that is. See where I'm at? I will check into that. I got to scroll up here. Hey, what up, Nate? Nat. It would, maybe. I don't know that it would ruin the case, but I'll put it to you like this. If law enforcement came out in Indiana and said, we know who it is, based upon information that we have that we cannot give you, and they gave us the name, well, that's when the screaming would begin. Because let me tell you, in this world, there are a lot of idiots. And a lot of idiots would say, well, if you know who it is, why ain't you filing charges? Huh? Because that's how people are. And then they'd have to explain, because he's in another state, and if we file charges, he'll, you know, and they would have to tell you the exact thing that I have. Now, the whole reason I believe for the Delphi briefing was for this. They named it a new direction, a new direction. You never thought we would change our direction, but we have. That's what he said. Now, anything that was based upon the Delphi murders that came back out of the new direction, somebody calling, was immediately placed as non-investigatable. They didn't have to go investigate that like the other 70,000 calls, you see, because they already knew who it was. And that's how you end the investigation. You have a briefing and you name it. So that's, let me see. Okay. Oh, 100 likes, man. All right. Oh, 116 people, man. You 116 people rock. Man. All right. Just so we go over 100, man. Everybody hit the like button. Just hit that thumb, man. Let's just see what happens. If everybody does it, it should be big, man. Like 120, 180 or something. If you come to Delphi, let me know. I'll meet you out there and take you around. Show you the trail. You know what? I don't think I'm that person for that. I mean, I'm really not. There isn't anything that I've done that I could really sit down and go, well, and this is what you got to do. You know, it ain't like that. It's just more that I've sat here for 4.5 years, coming up on 4.5 years. And this has been what's on my mind, because there's people that want to know things, and there's things, the information that I want to get. Well, the more that I learn about something, the more I can look at evidence, the more that I can look and say, well, all these things got to fit. You know, all of these things got to fit. You know, I can't just go out and find somebody and say, hey, you fit all of these. You know, it ain't like that. I mean, I was given a name, and that's how I got started on it. But the rest, man, I mean, it was just downhill, because I knew that all the questions that I had as I look at this guy, they were all becoming answered. And that's kind of what led into it. Now, I use some investigative websites where he had worked, where he had lived, you know, things like this. And, you know, family members. That way I could go look at his family's pictures on Facebook, find photos of him so I can verify that, yeah, this is a relative, you know, and this kind of thing. But it all kind of fell into play after that, you know, and it's just really, and I don't know how to best put that. I mean, I could say anybody could be an investigator if they ask the right questions. You know, if they know the right questions to ask, because it can really help you narrow down as to who did it. I have 105 likes, man. Right on. All right. If you get here, let me know. They did have the briefing. Now, the briefing was, I think, April 20-something of 2019. Look that up. Again, that's where they gave us the new sketch. The guys on down the hill. They also gave the video that was completely pixelated. I got video of a that I took out at the trail, and that was with Donnie's help. It was Donnie's phone. Now, he had the same kind of phone that she had, but it was put out, I think it was 2 before that. It wasn't the one right before that, but it was the one right before that. Now, we went out there and got video from where they were standing to him all the way to the end of the bridge to him where he was standing where the suspect was. Clear. 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 Very clear. Very, very clear. So that told me, because that was one of the first things that me and Greeno had asked the sheriff. Well, and those pictures, he's taken a step and a half. I said, why don't you release that segment of video with him taking a step and a half and take the audio out? That way we can see his walk, you know, see him better, clearer. Now, he told us, he's like, well, you know, we're going to keep going with this, you know, until it fails. If it fails, then we might do that in time. Well, they did do that. But this time, they made sure it was pixelated. That way you couldn't tell anything about the guy. And I want you to remember that, because that video off the phone was clear. Very clear. Oh, Amber Alert. Hey, Amber Alert, everyone. You know what? That's a good question. It really is. Because I was shown that, and I think it was by the guy who had seen that. And when it was pointed out to me, I couldn't say that it wasn't. And now here's kind of my reasoning for that. You got a guy that right now I would feel falls under a sadistic serial killer. Now, if you look at sadistic serial killers, these are people that want to relive that crime. They want to relive it. You know, so it seems to me that he had a way, and I was saying this before that was pointed out, because I felt that he had something where he could have like videotaped it right there. Now, that would have took his hands, but when that was pointed out that could have been like a video camera, I'm like, man, that's good. You know, and that may be a video camera, man. It very well may be. I'm not saying it ain't. I'm not saying that it is, but I am thinking that he did videotape or got pictures or something like that. And if that was a video camera, that would have made very good sense if it was. So, yeah, it very well could be. But again, I mean, the reason I say is because, man, there's people out there. This is a cell phone, and this is, you know, and I'm like, man, you know, it doesn't matter what color you dye the photo. It ain't going to tell you anything about what it is. You know, you could look at anything on a person if it's that fuzzy and pixelated, and you could say, well, this right here is about, you know, because if you can't see it clearly and it's in the shape of, well, you can't say it ain't. You see? So there's a lot of people, I mean, like right down to a teddy bear, all kinds of, a puppy. One guy said the guy was wearing a 1972 Elvis World Tour shirt. you know, it gets kind of crazy, but do I think it could be a camera? It very well may be. And, you know, I know that the cops went under the trailer he was living in. Now, I think that that was in the news. Now, I don't know that they pulled anything out, or maybe it did state that. But if you're trying to keep something from a crime away from your family, well, if it was, say, like a button or, I mean, anything like that off of the person, well, the person wouldn't know from where that came from. But if it was video and pictures, you see, you would want that away, where other people wouldn't stumble across and see that. So if that is what it was in part what was under his house, then they really got the goods on the guy. They got him in no uncertain terms. And I go back 2.5 years ago when I said there would be nobody that would come forward as a suspect, that there would be no arrest until he got a conviction. I'm standing on that. 2.5 years later, here I stand right now, right here, doing my show, telling you again. You're very welcome. Thank you for being here. You know what? I got because there's still flowers coming up. And, you know, every time I'm out with Puppy in the woods, man, I see one, you know, I'm thinking, man, I should have my camera and got it, you know, that way I could send it to you. But, you know, if they tell me, I mean, if you want me to do that, man, just send me an email and, you know, I will. I'll go out and get them as new ones come up. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And this is a guy who was preaching Christianity. And you can see where that don't fit. This guy, in my mind, in looking at him, you know, in looking at the kind of guy that he really, really was, not to the outside what people saw, but who he really was kind of very flip side of Christianity. I mean, he was doing what can only be described as evil, demonic. You know, he wasn't to a side of good. He was to a very bad side. And he was 52. Think about that. He was 52 when he was arrested. 52 years old. Now, does all that sound, I mean, like the Catholic supply store and all, like, man, does that sound at all like something that a absolutely fantastic, you know, a Christian preaching man would do? No. Now, he didn't suddenly become sick. He had been sick. I can take it all the way back to 99 with Mary Pryor. You know, and I can go back probably before that if California would get better on their crimes, you know, rather than saying this woman was found and she was raped and murdered. Okay, fine. But they don't tell you how she was raped, anything that was done, anything that was said. Nothing like that's involved. So you can't really make a comparison to other crimes. But Mary Pryor and Ann Pates, that was him in a nutshell. And I knew that when well, on the first one that I seen, because that was sent to me. And that was sent by Miss Cabell and Mary Pryor. Well, when I looked at that, I said, yeah, this does. I mean, this seems like something like I could see this guy doing. But I had told her in an email, I'm like, but I don't think, I mean, it doesn't fit with where he would be, you know, in Lennon, Michigan. I mean, where's that, right? And it was probably about 10 days. After I got that email, I was sitting here and I wanted to do some on the, you know, crime. And I just started looking stuff up and I thought, well, you know, I'll start by going back to that and find out like where that's at, you know, just find out where it's at. Well, when I pulled it up on the map, Lennon, Michigan, when I zoomed out and it came in, and it was almost a suburb of Flint. That's where he was living at, man. It was 12 miles south on Highway 13 from Montrose. And I'm like, oh, man, I get it. Okay. You know, and I wrote it back and I'm like, yeah, well done. You know, very well done. You know, and that's what got me looking at other crimes in and around Montrose. That's where I found Ann Pates. And in both, you know, they had stated that they had DNA and fingerprints. So once I had found that, and I told her, man, I says, well, I'm going to call the sheriff and give him a tip on that. And, you know, and he wondered how I came across that. You know, you look at where the guy lived, man, looking for light crimes. You look at unsolved rape, murder, you know, there's only so many going to pop up in counties where he had lived. Kind of easy to find. It's a Dr. K. It's real. It's a real Dr. K. Oh, hey, Sean B. If there is a Sean B. Sean gave me a gift, and Greeno has it, and he said he's putting it in the mail tomorrow. I was going to dedicate the show to him. You know, thank you, Sean. You know, I should receive that in a few days. Coffee and Mountain Dew? You know, I never was a Mountain Dew person. I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, hear me out, man. Like on sodas, you know, and stuff like that. It's kind of what you grew up drinking is what you tend to stay with. You know, and I don't know. Coke was one thing when I was little. I mean, it was all right, but I was always a Dr. Pepper person. And even growing up, man, loved Dr. Pepper. Yeah, Mr. Pibb. Same thing. So I drink Dr. K. What's the other one? There's another Dr. Something from, you know, and Dr. Pepper, Mr. Pibb. You know, there's a lot of them, man. I grew up drinking bourbon. Right on, man. Oh, man. Good one, dude. Dr. Thunder. Yeah, that's another one. Right. Now, the one that Clover Valley makes, maybe it is Dr. Thunder. Maybe it is. Grew up on Coke. Well, you know what? I had to go through rehab too. And I quit drinking. Scotch. Yeah, I was a wino, but if I had my real way of it, I would have been a Chivas Regalo. You know, well, there's always like good Scotch, man. Anywho, so it is 7:22, and I am open for questions if people got one. If you got a good question, I'm here to give it the best answer I can. Waiting for questions. Oh, hang on. Oh, wait a minute. And get rid of the banner. This is a mushroom I found. It's a little dried out now. But it was a morel mushroom. Smells like morel. Don't it? See? All right. So if anybody's got questions, yeah, right now is that time. Looking up here. You know, you could have just typed it again. Because, man, I got to scroll way up here to find it. Okay, could you just type it again, little Pookie? I don't know. And in fact, I mean, if you're talking about Evansdale, or I mean, Delphi or Evansdale like that, probably never, because that isn't something that you just release. Those are minor children, and you just don't really release stuff about that. I mean, I wouldn't think that they would come out publicly with that. That's, you know, me. I wouldn't. For a reason, because it looks like that they're doing what they're supposed to. But two, they know if they release it unpixelated, that people will be able to point to who it is, and they didn't want that. So it is what they're doing. We're trying to solve this case, and we're giving you something. But I believe that they purposely pixelated it because the video on that should have been very clear, and that going through the FBI, yeah. Okay, Lil Pookie, please, if you don't mind, throw that question back up. Well, if they do release it at the trial, but again, I mean, I'm going to ask. There are things that the jury can see that they're not going to give to the public. That would be one of them. I mean, they're not going to come out and say this is what it looked like or give you pictures. They're not going to do that. I sincerely doubt that they don't do that, you know. Probably takes, once you're at the south side of the bridge, when it goes down the hill like that, it would probably take you about 5 to 6 minutes to go from the tracks down the hill, across the private drive, down the thing, and then make a right to the creek. Probably about 6 minutes tops. I got that on my walkthrough video, because I started like where he parked and walked down to the bridge, across the bridge, down, and then walked across the creek over to the crime scene, and then took the northern route back. Lil Pookie, if you have a question up there, yes, he did. He went across the creek. Yeah. That bridge is plenty safe. In fact, that bridge would still hold a train. It'll hold me. Questions in all caps. Yay, man, there's an idea. Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, if you got a question, put it in all caps. That way I know. I go, hey, it's a question. Yeah, you know what, man? I've done I don't even know. I need to do those, and I really, really do. And just sit down and do them. It gets to be a pain in my backside sitting down to do them, because it really does, man. It takes a few days, and I don't like doing something like that over a few days. I want to sit down, get the information out there, and there it is. But I will, and I'll get it out there. No, but you know, I wouldn't either. You know, I'll put it to you like this: the FBI and the state of Indiana were all over that. That whole area was taped off. I don't think that there was a bottle cap in that area that wasn't picked up. I mean, everything that could have, would have, should have been, you know, was all raked up, went through. I think everything was. The Shack don't. The Shack is a movie. You know, The Shack is a movie, and I think that that was given more as a comfort to the family, because here's the thing. If law enforcement's not going to come out and tell you who did it, they're not going to give you a hint. And I don't think that the movie The Shack is any kind of a hint as to who did it. I think that that dealt with something that was remarkably alike and was probably given as, you know, he was saying that he watched that. It may have been more as a comfort to the family. But that's not a question, Diane. I have no idea. I have no idea. You know, yeah, if you, that's why I tell people, if you go out and you really look at the place and, you know, walk from Freedom Bridge down to Monon High Bridge and back, it gives you a way better perspective, you know, a way better. And, you know, anybody that I went out there and they walked down there and back, they had a much better idea, you know, because I could walk through with the camera and it's like you're walking, but you're not. You know, you can see how long it took, but it's not being there. It's not looking around. It's not seeing where everything's located. When you come in off of Freedom Bridge and you're walking to Monon High Bridge, everything to your left is private property. Nothing to your left-hand side on that trail is the trail. It's somebody's backyard that lives on County Road 300 to your left. Now, the right is part of the trail, but it just goes down to Deer Creek. Well, Deer Creek meets right there at the Monon High Bridge. So you only got a 15-minute walk with just very little space on your right-hand side. That is the trail. Yeah, the girls weren't targeted, but I have covered that many, many times as to why they have not. And you see, I don't, man. That comes off a tabloid. It does, man. That's somebody saying that. And then we believe that. Well, here's my thought. The guy had a weapon. The guy had a weapon. And I'll put it to you like this. The girls are on the south side of that bridge. Now, they're within walking distance of one of the girls' houses, okay, where they could have went to. Now, here comes a guy from the north. Now, he's crossing right there where we see him from the north going south, okay? Now, if they seen this guy, firstly, why would they be videotaping the guy? They would have had to know the guy was a threat, correct? Because why videotape somebody who's hiking, you know, and get his picture there? Well, they knew that the guy was a threat. Now, either A, he had said something when they came in, and they felt that he was a threat. But if they felt that he was a threat, they had 5 minutes to get out of there and go to somebody's house or call law enforcement. Okay, but they didn't. Now, I believe it was because he was on the south side. When Libby took Abby's picture right there at that platform, they started walking to the south. He was walking toward them, and when they met up, he showed them the gun and told them to go to the south side. That's what put it in her head. This guy's got a gun. Now, we can't run. If we run, he'll kill us. Okay? I'm not going to run, and I'm not going to fight the guy because he's got a gun and he will kill both of us. Now, neither one of them wanted that. You know, both of them wanted to go home. And I don't think that either one of them was going to throw a punch or try to run from a guy who had a gun and was threatening to use it. That's me. Now, do I feel that they did that? No. No, I do not. I think that that would not have been in their best interest to do that. Because if a guy came up and showed me a gun and said, I will use this if you do not do as I tell you, I'm going to be doing what that guy says. I want to go home. You see where I'm at? I read that earlier, and I do not believe that at all, because if they were targeted, the guy would have been arrested 4 years ago because they wouldn't known exactly how they were targeted. Again, it sounds good, but once you look at the evidence, you will know that that is not in the thing at all. This was they were victims of opportunity. They were there at the very wrong time, and that is how that goes down. Did they enter, you mean? You said, did they answer the bridge? They crossed the bridge walking from the north side, which is where they was dropped off. Hang on, let me go pull that up real quick. I'll pull it up on maps. In fact, man, I mean, like, we really need to make a video of that just by itself. All right. Okay. Yeah. Well. So, pull this here up. Now, this here, of course, this right here is Freedom Bridge. This crosses Highway 25, the Hoosier Heartland. This right here is the entrance. Now, right here, this is Anderson Grain. Right here is the abandoned CPS building. And this right here is where he had parked. Right here. Okay. Now, you see there's a trail going right here. And it leaves there and goes down to here, where it goes straight into here, where you can go in. You see where I'm at? Right here. Now, there was people parked at the CPS building all the time. I mean, it was closed down as a CPS building. People still park there to go walk the trail. It's set up so you can park here and go to the trail. This is the other entrance right here. Right there. It's got the trail. See how it enters right here with the sidewalk? And it goes right to the CPS building right here. And this is the CPS building. Now, right here on the front of this is a camera going outward. That would have caught him entering in his car and leaving, I believe. Now, the girls were dropped off right here. Now, this is the Mears house. Right here. Excuse me. Right here. And this is where they flew the helicopter in at the first year press conference, right where my mouse is. Now, right across the street from here is where the girls entered. And they come in. And this follows down. This is the trail right here where my mouse is. To the north side of the bridge. This is north up here. So they're to the north side of the bridge. And down here is the south side. Now they got on and they came down here. Now right here is where Libby was, right on this platform, facing north right here when she took Libby's picture or Abby's picture. And he was not back here on the trail or in the woods. I think he was down here and he came out because after she took her picture, they started walking this way. They probably met up about in here. He told him to get down in here. Right here's where she turned around and got his video. And this is where he had him go down and over to here, across the creek over to here. And this is where the crime scene was, right here. So they came in from the north here and got over to here. But again, if they had any kind of words with the guy, if the guy had said something when they came in and, oh, that guy's really creepy and going to do something. Well, they wanted to walk down to the bridge because that would have put him in an area where that guy could have had him cornered. You see where I'm at? You wouldn't do that. I mean, if an older guy is like that creepy and saying something, man, you'd call and say, hey, you need to come pick us up. There's some guy here, man, and something ain't right with him. We don't want to be here. That's how a kid would think. Okay. You wouldn't just walk on down there and go, the guy's just, you wouldn't do that. And if the guy's crossing the bridge, you would have up here, you would say, we better call law enforcement because this guy ain't joking around. This guy's a threat. They didn't have that time. They did not have that time. And that's what sticks out to me. They did not have time to call law enforcement. No, they did not say until 5. They said up to a time that could have been as late as 5. No, I do not. No, he was out there at almost exactly 1 to 2 minutes after 3 p.m. That's when he left there, because I walked. Now, he was seen by flannel shirt guy on the trail at 2:47 when, and I'm also quoting Mike Patty on Dr. Phil's show, the guy was leaving. That's what Mike Patty said. The guy saw him as he was leaving. Now, that was at 2:47. Now, from where he saw him at, which was right there between the fence and the secondary entrance. So to get back to the car from 2:47 to there, what means that he would have got to that vehicle at right at about 3 p.m. Just almost exactly right at about 3 p.m. And that's about the time he would have left. He was not sticking around. He did not want to be seen. Look, he had 2 people, flannel shirt guy and the lady walking her dogs, that seen him, that could have said, well, that guy was, and that would have stood out. And plus, I mean, he didn't know that he was videotaped. If he knew he was videotaped, he would have took the phone, people. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. The guy did. Now, I mean, he was in the military, and look, I ain't gonna say that the Navy's big scouting people or anything like that. But on the flip side, I mean, the guy knew what he was doing. When he got over there, and he was seen by the lady walking the dogs at approximately, she stated, 12:30. Now, at 12:30, he's on the south side of that bridge. Let me go back to the bridge. At 12:30 p.m. Now, he got there, say, at roughly 12 p.m. here, and then walked down here, all the way down to here, and had crossed the bridge and was down here where the lady living here that was walking her dogs, that was following the railroad trail, came across him here at the end of the bridge, and she spoke to him for a couple of minutes. What am I doing? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. Let me pull up the map. Okay. Let me scroll back out. He parked here. Now, let's say this is at about 12. Could have been a little before, a little after, but around 12. Now, he got out and walked down to here. From where he parked down to the north side, right here at the bridge, is a 15-minute walk. So he would have got there at 15 to 20 after. Now, to cross this bridge is probably going to take you at about 5 to 7 minutes. So this would have put it at about 27 after. Somewhere right in that area when he would have got to the south side of the bridge. She came across to him, she said, at approximately 12:30. Now, that's about the time he would have got there. Now, she lived right here, the lady that was walking her dogs. Now, if you can see that right here in the trees, because this is where the train tracks were. And there's that trail that goes right down through there. That's not a part of the walking trail. But her dogs would go down there and walk this. Well, they go down, they're walking, she's behind him, and she comes across him, has polite conversation for a minute. Hey, how you doing? Nice day, beautiful out. Oh, just out taking it in, that sort of thing. Yeah, whoop-de-whoop. Guy ain't breaking no law. He was under no suspicion by her. You see where I'm at? Now, he was there at 12:30. Now, I'm going to ask, why would he walk back to the north side? Why? For what reason? Because, you see, if he abducts somebody on that north side and he wants to take them over here, because, again, everything over here, when you come in, everything to your left, all of this over here, right up in here, all of this right here was posted, private property, no trespassing, no hunting. He knew that this over here was private property. This is the trail system, which doesn't have a trail in it, but it's part of the little trail that just follows the railroad track. Now, he knew that if he was over here and somebody walked out onto the bridge, he could go out, get him, corral him back, and take him over to here to private property, which is down in a big ravine. This right here, from this right here all the way up and around is a ravine. It goes 70 feet from the top of the hill down. It's down in a big, deep holler. Everybody looks at that and thinks it's like flat ground. It is not flat ground. It looks flat on a map. This right here is way down in there. I got video where I'm standing right here facing up this way and back around in video. You are in a very deep holler. Now, if somebody's up here and you're down in here, you could yell. They're probably not going to hear you here because you're firstly way to their east, and secondly, you're down in a dip. There's just ground facing against them. So they're not going to hear what you're saying. So I believe he stood right down in here with binoculars, kept an eye out, and waited for 2 hours until somebody arrived that he would consider a victim. Now, as they started walking this way, he came out, met him about here, and corralled him back. That way they could not call law enforcement. He showed him the gun, showed that he meant business, and told him to do as he said or he would do something. That's the way that a person who's armed does that. That is how I feel to happen. Exactly how I feel it happened. Oh, geez. Man, that couldn't have felt good. It was just, man. They got a divorce. She was granted a divorce. So, I mean, like, I'm positive that she would testify. But here's the thing. What can she testify to? She didn't know. She didn't know that what the guy was doing. It was never told to her. I mean, she's like the last person, you know, that he wanted to know any of this. So, I mean, what can she testify to? He's my husband. I mean, yeah, he did some crazy things. Thank you. I mean, like, what can she say? It's like pulling in BTK's wife. What's she going to say? I mean, she wasn't with him. She didn't know. It was all kept hidden. I mean, there wasn't anything that she knew. I mean, what can she testify and say? It'd be one thing if she was an accomplice, but she's not. She was a very sweet lady. And I don't believe that they would even ask her to testify. I mean, I don't know what she would testify to. I mean, there might be something like involving vehicles, something like that. But I mean, those questions have been asked by the FBI, and they're put in the books. Whoa, yeah, but no, wait. No, it's secluded. It's secluded. I mean, man, that private property, if you go over there, people, I mean, the only people that's really going to see that often is people canoeing. I mean, you know, it is very secluded there, and it's down in a, you know, in a deep ravine, so to speak. But I think that was part of it when he was on the south side. I mean, he was scouting that south side. He wanted to make sure nobody was like camping, fishing, anything like that. You know, on the south side, probably went down and looked and found the best spot to cross, knew that it was private property, could see that there was a hill surrounding it. It's where he wanted to go. I mean, you know, he took him to where he had already predetermined that he wanted him to go. I do not know what kind of car that he drove. You know, in the one, he had a 2017 Kia. But, I mean, look, he had filed bankruptcy in January 11th. And people say, well, he still could have bought one before that. Yeah, very true. But I'm going to ask, who's going to buy a car if they know it's going to put them in bankruptcy? You know, right before 2017. I think that was bought after the fact. Yes, exactly. Jason C. I said 5 to 7 minutes. Why? Because do you see how he was crossing it with these hands in his pockets? Now, I'm not thinking that Greeno was out there trying to set speed records. Okay, I'm not. But him and I are very familiar with crossing because we've done it many times. Now, if I say like, 7 to 8 minutes, man, I'm giving a decent average, man. I don't think the guy low crawled over there. I think the guy walked. There it is. But Teresa, yeah. Well, that's exactly right. Because where they were found, you had to go down a ravine, like so, back up a ravine, and then it begins the big hill. And now it's like a bowl. Picture like half of a bowl facing toward Deer Creek. It's all walled in like that by a big hill all the way around you. From your north going this way, and then it comes right back up on that ravine to your front facing back toward the trail. And I think that was part of it. I mean, it made it more secluded and, it was less that people on the outside could hear. Yeah. Thank you, Michael. I covered that, Jason. Maybe he was not here earlier. I don't even know who's Mr. Haynes. And somebody help me out with the Mr. Haynes. I don't know who that is. Why has Mr. Haynes not point out Bruce by now? Well, it's probably because it's not Bruce, dude. Now go about your way. No, he did not. Hey, Annette. How you doing? No, I don't. Because if he did, he would have been arrested rather immediately because everybody and their brother would have knew him. When they released the photos and the audio, everybody would have said, holy God, that's so-and-so. He would have been hit right there. So no, I don't believe that he was ever from around Delphi. Peace, Jason, you piece of fucking shit. Mods, this is why I give that to you. If you see it, send them on. Just send them on. If they got a problem with it, they'll reach me. Oh, man, I got to be Mr. Bandfinger, man. And whenever somebody good comes on and just trying to prove a stupid ass point, just get rid of them, man. Just send them the hell on. Man, if I could reach through YouTube, man, I'd have some fucking charges. That's cool, Mike. It's good, dude. Jason C. He just likes to keep up with me and Greeno so he can be a rotten. 109 likes? Oh, yeah, but look, man, those 5 come right from the same guy every time. Normally it's 6. He probably hasn't made it to his other account yet. I ain't worried about them. You know what? I've had 6 thumbs down before the show even started. Yeah. Yeah, well, you see, Teresa, are you a mod, Teresa? You should be a mod. Yes, I do. Yeah, now, I mean, I can go pull her photo up, and that was taken from the south side of the bridge facing northward. Now, that was taken at, I want to say it was 249. And she stated in that picture, I was there at about 3 and I didn't see or hear him. So now, because that was taken at 2:49, and flannel shirt guy seen the guy leaving, walking toward the exit at 2:47, it was already done. You see where I'm at? It was already committed at that time, and he was already gone. So now, you know what? She arrived very close, man, very close to that time. And if it had not have been the 2 girls, it would have been her and her friend. I'm pretty sure it would have been. Hang on, Teresa. Give me a second. A second. There you are. Reach under your seat, everyone. Everybody's a moderator. That ain't really so, Teresa. Not really so at all. And I'll tell you why. Hey, Mark. Oh, man. Hold on. Wait. Ah, man. I'm sorry, Mark. Next time you're a mod. Next time you're a mod, though. Let me scroll back up here. Okay, because you say he would have to be in good shape to do all that and then train, then get out of there. Man, I don't know of anybody that's ever went out there, man, that was in even decent walking shape that couldn't do that. I mean, you walk over there, it's not like up and down mountains. It ain't like that. It just isn't. It's not something that like only somebody in good shape can do. It ain't like that at all. You cross that creek, you can walk that shoreline, and then it goes up like a less of an incline. Once you get around that ravine, then you can go up that hill, and then you can walk to the middle of that and take it back to the 501. It's not like some big thing that a person in great shape would have to do. I mean, I'm sure that a guy could go out there that's in very poor condition and do it, honestly. Everybody mods at my place. Yeah, in 1 hour. Yes. Yeah. In fact, far less than that, man. I mean, you look at 207 to 247, that's 40 minutes. It ain't that long of a walk. I mean, it just isn't. But again, I mean, I say that if you go out there and you look at it, I mean, you could walk like right down to where the crime scene is. And you can walk out there, no issue at all. But the thing is that from where the crime scene is, there's a big hill there that faces that way. Now, you can walk down the creek and then back around this way and then go up that hill where it's a lot less light. But that main hill that you're looking at's right there all the way around you, going to the west up to the north. I wasn't here. Man, I wasn't there. I wanted to be, and I had a couple people say, man, they wanted to meet me out there, and I wish I had gotten out there. I know maybe a gun. Wasn't you here a little bit ago when I talked about that, Davey? Yeah, man, because you got to, because look, if a guy has a knife and you're at a distance from him and you're younger and can leave or call law enforcement, that's what you'll do. So it tells me right away that he had a gun. Now, you have a gun for one reason, to cause duress. You can show him the gun, do as I say, and that's the main reason. Because now what are they going to do? They're not going to do something that you ask not, because they know that you have a gun and you might just be that one that would kill. So I don't think that it was, like that. I think that he had a gun. He displayed the gun and said, do what I say. That's the only thing that really makes sense, man. I was on that at the go. I'd off the main go of it that the guy had a gun. No, right now he's 55. He's 45 days older than I am. If you get here in August, let me know, Mark. Wait, you was at the 4th year. Was you not? No. No, because there's no 13 or 14-year-old girl that's just going to follow along with the guy. Why would you get his video? The guy wasn't there playing like, hey, let's go over here. I got something I want to show you. I mean, man, and I mean, I would tell my kid, man, if a guy shows up and says that, run for your life. Well, I don't plan any walks. But, I mean, if you ever want to go over there, let me know ahead of time if you're heading down this way, and we can set up a time where we can get over there and meet. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. Yes, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right, man. Got it. I remember. And that was me and Donnie, wasn't it? All right. Well, it is 8 o'clock. So with that, because, you know, puppy, I got to keep him entertained or he'll drive me insane. You know, got to make sure he goes out and gets plenty of playtime. But I appreciate everybody being here with me tonight. You know, it was Tuesday and I thought, well, it would be good just to do a show one Tuesday, you know, as that is the normal time, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. So, you know, I thank everybody for being here, and I would go right back through all the names again. But you know what? Right now, I'm just going to call you all mods. You know, thanks, mods and viewers, for being here, man. I thank everybody for being here. So if you enjoyed the show, please give it a thumbs up. And if you really enjoyed the show, make sure your friends see it by hitting that share button. Throw it out on social media so other people can get involved. That's all I ask. That's it. So with that, everybody, I will see you all probably next week, next Tuesday at 6 p.m. And I thank every one of you, man. Peace.